Galnet News, your galaxy in focus, 23rd of June, 3301. In today's news, PCI Syndicate in squabble over Manite. Angels flock to follow the people's princess. The science of a safer society. And a special report on Operation Hammer's Wrath. Our top story today, the spokesperson for the workers of Manite Labour Union has informed Galnet that the people of Manite, represented by the WMLU, will not accept exploitation of their home world by a foreign company calling itself Purple Central Industry. PCI, a corporation based out of the system PAND, has chosen Manite as a destination for future operations. Preemptive operations within Manite ahead of the scheduled political entrance of PCI are occurring through the PCI Syndicate, with military backing from the mercenary XYZ Black Fleet. Speaking at a press event on the matter, the WMLU spokesperson had this to say: "Our forefathers laboured hard to turn Manite into what it is today, a cooperative society granting freedom and a life in dignity to every individual on the planet. We will not give up our way of life without a fight, especially not in favour of a reckless corporation that never did anything for the benefit of our people, nor has earned a place in our society. We, the people of Manite, will not be slaves to their greed for profit. Today, I have called on Valentina Tereshkova, spokesperson of Enosys, for aid to protect us from the violent invasion of our system by PCI." And Valentina had this to say when interviewed by Galnet: "We have helped many communist systems in the past to resist falling under corporate dictatorship. This case seems to be one of the worst examples of a corporation disrespecting the most basic human rights of an entire world's population. I will call upon the spacefaring branch of our cooperative, Communism Interstellar, to help the people of Manite. Moreover, I have already sent out diplomats to our allies across inhabited space to ask for further aid in this conflict. PCI will soon find out that invading Manite against the will of its rightful owners will be less profitable and far more costly than what their anticipated profits suggested." Whilst negotiators are remaining tight-lipped about the diplomatic discussions, there is evident frustration from the Communism Interstellar representative with the bellicosity and intransigence demonstrated by PCI thus far. For months, Ashling's Angels have been working hard to support their mistress in her quest to bring about meaningful change in the Empire. As part of their efforts, millions of slaves have been set free, retrained and rehomed in accordance with Ashling's wishes. When she lost her bet against Zemina Torval back in April, many within Imperial society thought Ashling's followers would finally realize that she was backing a lost cause and give up. Instead, the opposite happened as thousands of Imperial citizens, their hearts touched by the efforts of the People's Princess, rallied to her cause. This has turned Ashling into one of the most influential celebrities in the Empire today, to the delight of her powerful backers. With this newfound support, the People's Princess has found herself once again going up against Senator Zemina Torval, as the two powerful senators clash in a bid to gain influence near the Empire's core systems. Early last week, the two camps worked to rally support amongst senior patrons in Kazpatsuria. When it became apparent that the Kazpatsuria citizens would only be swayed by their wallets, a wise change in direction by the Angels' PR team saw a last-minute burst of activity launch across Grovichan's social media networks. Supporters of both Imperial powers are currently engaged in talks with the respective local authorities in a bid to set up new command centres from which to spread their own particular forms of Imperial life. Thousands of Pegasi sector civilians were forced to evacuate their homes last week following a series of brutal raids carried out in the name of Archon Delane. Some resilient residents have attempted to reach out to the Federation and Empire homeworlds for assistance, but so far their pleas for help have gone unanswered. This leaves the question on everyone's lips: who will stop the Kumo crew? Local business magnate Pranav Antal believes that his utopians may well be able to provide an answer. He said, "Their greed, their jealousy, these are the things that drive the Kumo to try to own, control and destroy everything they see. This desire for base things has led the crew down a dark path, one which has caused much pain for the people of Pegasi. We at Utopia understand their sorrow, their troubles, and we want to help. agents of Utopia are seeking to open a new commune in HIP 116213. Once approved, our engineers will begin the dangerous process of establishing an enlightened defense against the uncivilized horde. Some time ago, Galnet reported on the occupation of Jurius by the forces of Senator Denton Patrius, who took military action in order to reclaim unpaid debts to his faction, which resulted in defeat for Jurius and a large number of its inhabitants being forced into regulated slavery to pay back what was outstanding. Now, one such enslaved Jurian has embarked on a campaign of terror, set on righting the perceived wrongs against him and his family, which he is calling Operation Hammer's Wrath. Although the inhabitants of Jurius have not received much press coverage since the military campaign ended, Galnet had the opportunity to speak to this commander, who goes by the alias Commander Hammerfall, to get his side of the story. So why did you begin this campaign of terror?
I had lived peacefully on Jurius until the day Senator Patrius came. My family and I were separated, catalogued and sold into slavery. This is my display of vengeance for my lost family.
What did you do after Jurius?
I escaped my former slave master and lived as a common thief for some time. This eventually led to me stealing a ship and taking part in Arissa Livigny Duval's quest to find the Emperor's would-be assassins. I worked day and night to earn enough credits to buy an Imperial clipper. Now I was ready.
What do you hope to achieve by creating this sort of terrorism among slavers?
I wanted to remind slavers what it feels like to be treated as nothing, to feel helpless and afraid. They must know that there are those, even amongst the slaves, who will risk everything to stop them. Fear me, slavers. Fear what I stand for. I am the personification of wrath.
And what makes you different from a common psychopath or criminal?
Very little, but I want to be clear here. This is about terrorism, not crime or credits. I will continually commit brutal acts of terror against the slaver factions and show them no mercy or honor. Nor do I care for the Federation versus Empire wars. I will work with anyone that stands against slavers, but my allegiance is to myself and my own war.
And what about your family?
I do not know where they are, or even if they are alive. Perhaps my infamy will reach them across the galaxy and somehow they'll contact me. That's assuming they have not been butchered already in one of Senator Torval's augmentation workshops.
And finally, what will you do next?
You will have to wait and see, but you can assume it will mean the deaths of many slaver commanders and their leaders.
Commander Hammerfall there talking about his revenge plight against the Empire and regulated slavery. While headlines have been filled by Imperial military victories in the past few months, little column space has been directed towards those civilians affected by the actions of the major powers, and Commander Hammerfall has taken it upon himself to gain popular support through unusual, although violent, means. That's the Galnet news for today. Tune in next time to keep your galaxy in focus.